Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now March 10th of 2022, and ever since the very end of the Book of Boba Fett series, a lot of fans have now been focusing strictly on the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show by Disney and Lucasfilm, and exactly what they really have in store for that show by director Deborah Chow, as well as other creators hopping on board of the overall Star Wars universe that's going to tie directly into other new Star Wars TV shows that will be unveiled, by the way, at Star Wars Celebration this year that takes place in May. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do make sure to post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really interact with you guys further. So ever since the trailer dropped just yesterday for the Kenobi TV series, I gotta say, you've seen this rise in positivity within the Star Wars fandom, which, by the way, is really refreshing and nice, isn't it? You know, we have a lot of fans looking forward to the show. I've noticed that the one major criticism of the Kenobi trailer is a lot of people think that the Grand Inquisitor looks a little off or a little strange, and I will have to say that I agree a little bit, but it's really a nitpick, to be honest, in my opinion. It's nothing really terrible. The overall trailer was beautifully made, beautifully shot, and it just goes to show you how high of a budget this series actually has. Now, with that being said, of course, we already know that Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy has been having a lot of trouble with a lot of the Acolyte TV show with Leslye Headland, and of course Project Vortex, which is going to be Stranger Things in space, essentially, featuring Jedi Padawans adventuring across the entire galaxy during the days of the High Republic. And that brings us to Kathleen Kennedy and what she had to say about the Star Wars fandom and how she's actually casting blame on the fandom for specific things we'll dive into in this video. So obviously we already know that Kathleen Kennedy's been having a lot of trouble maintaining the Acolyte throughout the past number of months. A lot of the Disney board members are really beginning to get fed up over this matter, but I digress. So Kathleen Kennedy actually went on to state at one point in time in a recent interview, when people like myself and Leslye Headland analyze the fandom, one thing that we have noticed is that there is a very vocal minority of the community that claims that they are the majority. This is something that I just want to let every fan know that is not the case. When we have setbacks in production for many projects, such as feature films or a television series, it's usually most likely rooted to the fans putting immense pressure on the creators, like directors and writers of those shows, that feel that they need to listen to the fandom and end up making the wrong choices. It is my priority to do the opposite with the Acolyte series, she says, to introduce a brand new era of Star Wars that doesn't need to hold the burden to George Lucas and his philosophy of Star Wars. Now, let me just pause right there for 1 second before we move on. The thing that Kathleen Kennedy here is essentially saying is that she is blaming the fandom, that any kind of setback that a production has over at Lucasfilm, be it, of course, a production under her supervision or John and Dave's, is that it is casted by, of course, the fandom pressuring the creators. And that is completely false, 100%. That would basically mean that the Acolyte series setbacks have something to do with the fan feedback. Meanwhile, Kathleen Kennedy is saying at the same exact time that they're not paying attention to the fans. And so that kind of really contradicts everything of what Kathleen Kennedy is saying here, and it also goes on to show you that she's really just pushing a specific agenda of how she thinks about the quote-unquote minority that is very vocal and very loud, where in reality it is the majority. It is the hardcore Star Wars fans that really make the Star Wars franchise actually stay on its legs. It's true. These are the people that buy tickets 4, 5, 6 times when a movie comes out. These are the people that buy merchandise off store shelves like no tomorrow. You need these people, and when you really upset them, you lose those customers. So moving on to the next point here, separate from what Kathleen Kennedy said, one thing that she is set to do in the show is by erasing many aspects attached to the Skywalker saga, such as restarting the Chosen One prophecy and even reworking the Jedi Code. The Jedi Code is described to get a complete makeover in the Acolyte show for Disney+. The reworking of the Jedi Code is set to be something that will be very controversial to the fandom, as it goes against with what George Lucas included in the saga films and lore. So here's another prime example, alright? She's going against George Lucas and what he has worked for the last multiple decades, right, of the Star Wars universe. Really keeping that Star Wars philosophy intact, and we can never forget We can never forget that famous interview back in 2013 when Kennedy promised everything of what she was going to do for the Star Wars characters, for the Star Wars lore and the mythos, everything about it that was going to be respected. She promised that and did a complete backstab to George Lucas. We all witnessed it. We all saw it with the sequel trilogy movies. And it was just rather unfortunate, it really was, to see exactly what happened. Now, we already know that George, John, and Dave are working on a number of new Star Wars TV shows that are going to go against Kathleen Kennedy's vision and agenda with the Acolyte show, which, by the way, is fantastic and great news because they're doing their own thing, and Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie are doing their own thing with the Acolyte and Project Vortex. So, moving on from that, now Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy is also set to star as a brand new character cameo in the Acolyte show that is currently codenamed Crystal in the series. We talked about this lightly a couple of months ago. However, this is a character that collects kyber crystals and sells them to Darksiders and Sith Lords, and helps them with their discovery of kyber crystals that are needed for special lightsaber designs that will be featured in the Acolyte TV series. So, Kathleen Kennedy is going to have a cameo in the Acolyte show, and I'm not quite sure how the fans are going to react to this, whether or not they're going to laugh at it, or if they're going to be very put off by it in a very, negative way, obviously. They did this with George Lucas in Revenge of the Sith, which was nice. I don't know if you guys ever noticed it, but, toward, I believe it was maybe the third act or the end of the second act, you do see George Lucas on Coruscant as one of the minor characters. Not really a major character, but he is in there as a cameo. Kathleen Kennedy is doing something like that, but elongated, where she's going to actually have somewhat of an impact on some of the major characters in the Acolyte TV series. And I think it just goes to show you the ego that she has of having the authority over the Acolyte show and putting herself into the series as a cameo, codenamed, of course, Crystal, who holds, of course, a series of kyber crystals in a bag and sells them to Darksiders, Sith Lords, etc., and bargains with them as well. We're going to be able to witness this character also in the upcoming canon books and novels in the beginning of 2023, so it'll give you a more vivid picture of what the character is going to look like, but so far the character has been described to have spiky white hair and a silver lining dress, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly what that's going to look like with Kathleen Kennedy portraying the character codenamed Crystal. The other thing that I do want to bring up here is that everything related to Kathleen Kennedy blaming the fans, this is nothing really new. This is something that she keeps on doing, something that she keeps on saying, and the fans are just really tired of hearing this. It's really up there when Bob Iger himself, the Disney CEO, back a couple of years ago, said that The Last Jedi, had nothing to do with the soloist Star Wars story box office results, and in fact, he went on to even say, and had the audacity to say, that the Solo movie, the Han Solo film, didn't really do all that well at the box office results because fans were tired of too many Star Wars movies. So, either he was obviously lying to the fans, which is more likely, or he was too out of place to realize exactly what was going on with The Last Jedi and how it really turned off a lot of fans, and they boycotted the Han Solo film. So, like I said, guys, overall, let me know what you think about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.